We are Nerd Cult Online, and this is Dreamcore from TLON Industries. Now, Dreamcore is a game that is basically a horror title where, it's really about, kind of unraveling the mystery of what's going on and where you are. And the game is just absolutely unnerving. I went into it having no real knowledge beyond just like one or two sentences worth of information on what the back rooms are. And this game is heavily inspired by the back rooms. Now, from what I understand of the back rooms, and I haven't done any further research into it other than playing this game, is that basically it's meant to be like this place that just randomly gets discovered and just seems to kind of go on forever, and the real world physics of it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so knowing that little about it going into this game, the only thing I knew is that pretty much everything in the game, in the map, in every room is placed intentionally. That everything is supposed to be done for a reason, and trying to figure out what that is. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like a freaking idiot because at no point was I able to figure out what that reason is for almost everything. And, the whole level, the whole world stage, none of it makes any sense, which obviously is part of the point, and to fit in with that. And, really the only sounds you get while you play are, the sounds of the water as you're walking through it, or your own footsteps echoing. And like the sound quality and visuals are just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it literally sounds like somebody just walking along in this big open space or through the water, and the water, ripples and moves like it's real water. And the use of shadow versus where the light is, the physics of it works very well. Now, I have no idea what's up with those balls. They show up throughout the stage, and so far, other than unlocking a related achievement, I have not figured out anything related to them. Now, that being said, the developers did provide me with a level and achievement guide, so I could actually use that to, complete every achievement available between the two stages that are currently available. But I chose to go completely blind on this first playthrough, and just to see what I could find and what I could do on my own. And through this playthrough, I completed a single achievement, which was finding one of those specific balls in a specific place. And that was it. No other achievements unlocked, no exit was ever found. Just kept exploring and kept finding new paths and new questions. Now, with several TikTok videos and things like that I've seen that, claim to be of the back rooms and things like that, they always end with some like eldritch horror, basically chasing after the squad of soldiers or officers that were investigating it. And so, knowing that was a possibility because of those videos, I mean, this game makes me question the accuracy of those videos, because every step of the way I was expecting something to jump out at me or to see something in the distance, like that tree back there. I thought it was a leg of a giant creature until I got much closer. And I thought that thing up there was also some sort of entity or something looking down at me. And when I zoomed in, I could see that it wasn't. It looks more like a drawing of like a mountain or something. And So, it makes me believe that those videos are definitely inaccurate, because if this is more like the back rooms, it would seem that there's nothing eldritch going to be showing up at any point, but there is something at play here, and definitely makes me want to avoid the dark areas. Now, there are several dark areas where it says that you have to have a flashlight to continue, and I expect that, somewhere in this labyrinth is a flashlight, and finding that flashlight and going back to those areas will allow me to escape. Never found the flashlight, so could not test that theory. And there's so many different avenues to take that it's nearly impossible to find it accurately, at least your first try, or even at all, without either trying every avenue possible and backtracking. Like one example is, always turn right, and so like if you stick to one thing and always follow that thing, you're going to have a better likelihood of finding those types of things, in my opinion. But there's just so much to explore. Like here, like I expect there to be like actually a door hidden in some way, but couldn't figure out how to trigger it because it clearly was drawn there. But I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to go back there for some reason. But again, other than finding those giant smiley balls, I could not find anything in this map to interact with or engage with other than just walking around and exploring. And it truly is very unnerving. And again, no matter how much time I spent trying, I think I spent 2, maybe close to 3 hours in this stage and still couldn't find my way out. Now, I did circle back on a couple areas and see them from different views. And so I think I was onto the right track. But, ultimately still did not get anywhere in the long run. Now, there was a point, and I don't know if my footage captured it or not, but there was a point where you could actually hear music increasing as you progressed. And it was at a spot that looked like it was going to an exit. And so I thought that, maybe that was going to be the end of the stage and me essentially escaping, just obviously not found all the secrets. But when I climbed to the top of the stairs, turns out to just be another window and light. And then, this was what I thought was the exit right here. And, turns out I clearly was wrong. Just a new type of door or, archway leading to more tunnels. But, the fact that things have changed makes me feel like I was going the right direction. And, again, so most of the time, just choosing a direction, sticking with it, and kind of hoping for the best was my main process with choosing my pathways. But I kind of wish I tried to go down the slide, because I did not. And I'm curious if it would have worked. Now there's the ball that I mentioned. And when that achievement popped, I literally jumped. Again, because this game is just so unnerving, and just they do a fantastic job of building the tension every step of the way. And despite, doing all that, I never got the satisfaction of, the crescendo or, the final point. Here mentioning, make sure you shower before you get in the water, was a new sign I hadn't seen before, and again made me think that I was on to the right direction because things are different. And here the tile on the wall is different. We now have not necessarily floorboards, but the same kind of idea. And I can never remember what that stuff is called. And then different colored pillars than before. And so again, I feel like that as you progress, as long as things are changing, you're definitely onto something. Now, the visuals, as you can see, are fantastic. The attention to detail. I mean, this looks like it was found footage and not something that somebody coded. And it's very impressive, just the level of detail there. I think that in order to really kind of cement that feeling in, I think it would have been great if, like, when you choose to kind of run forward, have like a stamina bar and, or at least maybe an invisible one where, you do get winded and you hear your character breathing, trying to catch their breath. And unfortunately didn't get that. And so, it does kind of add to the mysteriousness because, it's just not real. It's very alien. And, I feel like that was kind of the point behind it. So maybe that was an intentional decision. But either way, they absolutely nailed it. And the sheer scope of the stage completely blows my mind because, I mean, you can literally go everywhere and it doesn't feel like it's rendering as you go. And it's not just, defining the stage as you go either. It's, at least as far as I can tell anyway, for what, considering that they provided the guide for it, makes me feel like, this is all essentially pre-rendered as one level and you're just exploring it. Here's more of those random balls again. And again, just the overall attention to detail. I mean, they really nailed this game. And, one thing I also noticed is, like, right there, there's a drop point, but you can't walk off the edge into it. Because I was trying to get a good view to see if it just dropped lower and you could just jump out, or if it dropped you down to a different room. But the invisible wall kind of prevented you from doing so. But overall, thoroughly enjoyed this, especially as a horror game. Was surprised not to have any jump scares or anything like that, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only other complaint I had, in terms of the realism is occasionally when you look at certain objects, you kind of see, and you can kind of see it right there, almost like an invisible line continuing the object as it bends. And, maybe that's not meant to be visible. And so it kind of does detract from the realism of the stage. So, in summary, I thought the game was very beautifully done. Audio effects were absolutely fantastic. Just some minor realism details could have made this game absolutely perfect. But, even with those minor imperfections, I think that they just did a fantastic job. And honestly, can't wait to actually get back and explore more and see if I can find my way without having to use the guide. But I have a feeling that if I'm going to actually have any hope of escaping it, I'm going to have to use it, which is definitely telling of how good they did in this maze.